we kick off with a visit to Muallima Fatima Abrams, the principal of Darul Islam Hafid School, to talk about the importance of faith in ever-changing times. Next, we talk to Dr. Veronique Jenica about nurturing hope into happiness. And lastly, we hear the heartwarming story of Aisha Salwari, who inspires all she comes across with her courage.
Weet jy, baie keer gesels 'n mens mos maar altyd met iemand. Maar dan weet jy nie regtig wie hy persoon is nie. So vandag wil ek 'n bietjie meer uitvind oor my gas. En ek gesels vandag met the first lady, Muallima Fatima Abrams. En sy is die vrou natuurlik van Sheikh Irfan Abrams. Assalamu alaykum, Muallima. Ek het geweet hy sal u attention kry, nee. Muallima, u is dan nou ook, soos ek nou net genoem het, vir party mense the first lady, want u is dan getroud met die president, as ek dit so mag stel. Maar ons gaan gou 'n bietjie terug in u lewe. Gee gou vir ons mense so 'n klein opsommetjie van Fatima, die kleindogtertjie. Wie was sy?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Fatima Abrams was 'n baie stil, skame meisie. Ik het gewoon in Kensington. Mijn moeder, zijn tante, het ziek geworden. Toen moest ons verhuizen naar Heideveld. Toen ons in Heideveld is, toen was daar niet school, toen moet ik school toe gaan in Bontebal.
Okay.
Ons moest van Heideveld lopen over die brug naar die school toe. En in de middag moet ons madrasa gaan. Ik was zoetkind, maar omdat ik met mijn nichtjes was, en als hulle iets gedaan dan volg ik mijn vader. You know? So what happened is, can I speak English?
Yes.
So what happened is that if we had to go to madrasa, we don't go to madrasa.
Yes.
What we do is, we take a walk back to the school where I came from, to Bontebal, and we sit in the park, play until time is finished. When mother and father's coming, and then we come back and say, no, we were in madrasa. But we weren't in madrasa.
Nou kan jy nou sien, iewers ons Muallimas was net so stout.
Ja, alhamdulillah. But alhamdulillah, ik was een voorbeeld. Ik denk, ik was een voorbeeldige nadat ik stout geweest was. Het was toen teruggekomen, maar weer voortgegaan en ik was uiteindelijk een voorbeeldige student.
There you go. Soos hulle amper sê, 'n mens leer uit jou foute uit, nee?
Ja, uit jou foute uit, ja.
Nou toe Fatima nou 'n bietjie groter word, toe word Fatima mos nou die jong meisie. En Fatima begin mos nou ook 'n bietjie rond te kyk. Toe Fatima nou op die oue nou die oogies nou set op daai jong man. En obviously moet Daddy mos nou daarvan geweet het. Wat het Daddy toe gesê?
MashaAllah. It's not very easy one, but okay, we were in one school.
Yes.
And I wasn't actually someone that looked out, as you said. I was just sitting with my books, my pens, and the teachers normally looked at me as the student. And I've never actually looked at boys in actual fact. And what happened is one day we were playing soccer in the class.
Soccer?
Yes, soccer in the class, yes. So Sheikh Irfan was just grabbing his opponent, and he grabbed me, and then he realized, I like this girl. And then afterwards, he will still say, Fatima, you know why I asked you? Because you never took my hands off you. So I thought to myself, oh, subhanallah, I never knew this was going to happen. I just thought it was a game, a game that we were playing. So at the end of that year, that was in grade 9, he came to ask, so since then, but my father wasn't very happy, wasn't very keen, because Sheikh Irfan didn't come to study with Fatima, he came for another purpose. And on that, my father was very unhappy, and it's a long story, but I'm going to make it short, and we got married a week before my June exam in matric. Yes, because my mother said that because of my father's action, every time the Sheikh would come there, he would perform, he would chase him, he would do things that he should not do. And then my mother said, no, I think the best is you to get married.
Yes.
And that is what we were waiting for.
Wow.
Just for my mother to say, get married. And the next night, we got married in my house. I made my own tea. After the nikah, I made my own tea, and we had to go and eat some more. That is why today I still love eat some more.
Oh, jo. Ek moet daarom vir sê, daai is 'n wonderlike storie. En sê Ep01 Abrams, so u het sommer daai aantrekkingskrag gevoel en geweet, die meisiekind laat ek nou losie. Nou maar alima toe julle nou dan nog getroud is, lewe gaan aan, alhamdulillah. Julle is nou hoeveel jaar nou getroud?
Ons is 42 jaar getrouwd.
Sure.
Alhamdulillah. Just after a year after we got married, he was accepted in Medina, and then he left. Another year after that, I left again. And we had one child. My first child I got at the age of 20 years old. She is Aisha, and today she is 40, I'm 60. And she's still in Saudi Arabia at the moment, busy doing some work and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wel, ek moet sê 42 years. Nou wil ek gou die vraag vra. Is Moalima nie nou al moeg van sy gesig elke oggend om op te staan?
Ek glo.
Just joking.
Yes, I know, it's just joking. I believe, and I always, when I speak on platforms, I always say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. And from my signs to show you that I am your creator, that min ayati and khalaq, that I have created you, خَلَقَ لَكُم مِنْ from amongst yourself, أَزْوَاجًا, pairs. I have made you pairs. أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Taskunu there is so that you can dwell into one another, there can be tranquility. Yes. And I believe that if Allah said, I've made that, and I've made you like that, to live like that, then it must be somewhere there. And that is how I thought, if the one does that, then I need to see how I can compromise with that person, with my spouse, of course. And لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made amongst you mawadda. Mawadda is not only hub, it's not only that love, it's that extreme love between you. So where is it? It is there amongst, because Allah made it amongst us. And that basis, I gave my all, and I'm sure Sheikh gave his all. Alhamdulillah.
Nou ek hoor dan nou ook Moalima praat so mooi Arabic. Hoe oud was Moalima toe Moalima nou begin met Arabic?
Toe ek Medina toe gaan en toe ontmoet ons studenten.
Yes.
And we met a student of Sierra Leone, and she assisted us to get into a school. I've been in school for 4 years, did Arabic and Quran, and as you know, as I told you before, that I always wanted to aim the high.
Yes,
so I always aimed high, and I always came first amongst all that different kinds of people, whether you're Arab, whether you're Malaysia or whatever that was in the class. I always wanted to be number one. And alhamdulillah, and then I had my friend, my best friend is Mu'allima Aisha Gabriels. We left together, we came together, we studied together, we did everything together. And if I come first, she comes with me first. That was the relationship that we had. We, not to show people, alhamdulillah, not to show people, but because we saw the beauty of the deen, the beauty of Islam, that we wanted to, we just loved it. Yes, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Nou Moalima, u is dan nou ook die prinsipaal van die Islamic School waar ons nou is. Gee gou vir ons kykers 'n bietjie insig oor die Islamic School om te sê.
Alhamdulillah, as we are Darul Islam Hafiz School. We originated from the Darul Islam Mosque in Surrey Estate, and what happened is that everything Sheikh Irfan normally initiates everything that is in Surrey Estate, the Darul Islam Hafiz School, Darul Islam Zakafan, Darul Islam Primary School, Darul Islam High School, Darul Islam Mosque. He initiates something. Then if he has to move on, then I will take over and I will see how I can keep it up. And up till today, I am involved in the Zakafan, where we make the Darul Islam High School's uniform and primary school's uniform, and also the Hafiz School. I'm here now more than 30 years, about 32 years, alhamdulillah. And I think we don't even have to advertise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so great. And we have a full school every year, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Nou toe ek dan nou toe inkom, toe sien ek nou so 'n heel wat 'n paar kleintjies wat hier buite speel. Van watter ouderdom af word hulle hier aangevat?
We take on from 4 years old. That is the age when you can see that they're not baby anymore. They're more matured. And then what we do is we teach them how to read. They need to identify. And alhamdulillah, for all these years, I think there's every year it's not less than 50 students that goes into the Quran. And normally they will take from, if we start January, by July, August, you will see there they go. One by one they go into the Quran. Alhamdulillah, I did post a few that went in the Quran 2 months ago already on the Facebook. It's not only to show people, but it's more an encouragement, so that we can send our children not only to the school, if we can open more, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Nou, alles dan nou die kleintjies, maar tot watter ouderdom toe word hier dan nou ook klas gegee?
Darul Islam Hafiz School is actually very broad. It is, we have the 4 years, 4 years, we class for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, then we have 7 and 8, and then we have a class where we have the seniors. No, before the seniors, we have the 10, 11 and 12 in the class. Then we have the senior, two classes for senior girls. And then also we opened 10 years ago, we opened another Darul Islam Hafiz School in Blackistor.
Wow.
Yes, I've been working in Blackistor for 11 years now. And alhamdulillah, we've opened for the toddlers, we opened it. And alhamdulillah, it's going on well. And there you have to, mashallah, it's not very easy. Nobody wants to teach there. If I'm looking for a teacher, nobody wants to be there because of the danger. But alhamdulillah, Allah has protected me so far. And it is, in actual fact, I just told somebody the other day, when I'm here, I feel so tired sometimes. But when I'm in Blackistor, I'm so full of energy because they need me. All in my mind, they need me. And this is what I would like to do, alhamdulillah.
Mu'alima, ek kan vir u sê, natuurlijk, dit is Allah se werk wat vir u vat tot daar en vir u die krag en die wild gee om daar uit te kan kom. Want soos jy nou net genoem het, dis nie enige iemand daar nie. Maar Allah gebruik spesifieke mense om 'n ding te doen. En alhamdulillah, Allah het vir u gekies. Ek sê vir u baie shukran, dit was lekker om met u te gesels. En so sê my gas natuurlik, Mu'allima Fatima Abrams. En ek sê, sy is die first lady, want sy is die vrou van die president, Irfan Abrams.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Almighty Allah be with you and your family wherever you are. My name is Najwa Muhammad Ladi and welcome to Inspirational Woman, Season 3, mashallah. Very honored to be in your company. Today I'm interviewing an amazing lady. But before we start off with her interview, I want to quote something in the Holy Quran of Surah Al-Alaq. That is chapter 96 in the Holy Quran, that is verse 1 to 5, where Almighty Allah speaks of reading in the Quran, and let me quote that. The first verses of the Quran begin with the word read. Read in the name of thy Lord who created. He created the human being from blood clot. Read in the name of thy Lord. He taught the human what he did not know. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. And the reason why I'm opening my show today with that is because the lady I'm about to interview and to introduce to the world is Dr. Veronique Jenica, also known to me as Dr. Fakhriya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fakhriya.
Assalamu alaikum and shukran for having me.
It's such a great honor, such a great privilege to be here. And if our viewers can only feel this tranquil energy here, alhamdulillah. So once again, thank you very much for allowing us into your space, Fakhriya. As I introduce you as doctor, but there's a beautiful story attached to you. You were actually thrown out of school at a very tender young age. If you can just give our viewers a brief about yourself, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, I was actually ceremoniously thrown out of high school. And so people always joke and say from high school dropout to a director and a doctor of educational psychology. And the reason why I was ceremoniously thrown out of school is that in 1983, I was very young, I was 17 years old, and I fell pregnant.
Yes.
And the kids today are so fortunate in that there's a pregnancy policy and we all make mistakes.
Of course we do.
I made, it was a wrong decision, but I'm not sorry. Alhamdulillah, I have an amazing 35-year-old daughter, Tasneem.
35.
35
But you look
years
like
old.
35.
Shukran. By the grace of Allah.
Alhamdulillah.
And so what happened was that I was 17 years old. I was in my final year of school. I fell pregnant, and at that time you weren't allowed to be at school when you were pregnant. And so I was asked to leave school, and that's what I did. And during my pregnancy, the one thing that I turned to was reading. But the one thing that I was reading all of the time was, because I also embraced Islam at the age of 17 years old, I was fascinated and I was curious about my new religion. And so I read, but obviously the English version of the Quran. And that was my saving grace for me. And it was in the Quran where I discovered the grace and the mercy of our precious Allah, and it took away the guilt. And because it took away the guilt of me falling pregnant at such a young age, I committed myself to educate myself, because it says in the Quran that we need to seek knowledge, and that was very, very important for me.
Yeah. And Fakhriya, that's exactly what you did, mashallah. In 2015, you graduated with your PhD. We won't talk much about that now, inshallah. We'll get there. I want to ask you, really, you know, as you so beautifully mentioned in the Quran and the beauty of the Quran, what pierced your heart when it comes to Islam? Why did you decide to embrace Islam?
Well, that's very interesting. When I started reading the Quran, just the beauty in which it was written. And I fell in love with reading quite interestingly when I was about 8 years old. I was in grade 3 and I actually failed grade 3.
You failed, but you were doctor today.
Grade 3, Alhamdulillah.
Oh, wow.
I failed grade 3, and I will never ever forget my grade 3 teacher was kind of spiteful with me. She always pulled my hair and she always told me that I was stupid.
Oh my goodness.
And when I came home with my report at 8 years old in grade 3 and I had failed, the one thing that I just made a promise to myself that I am really not stupid and I'm not going to fail grade 3 again. And what I did during the school holidays was that I went to the library every day and I sat in that library and I read. And something magical happened in the library when I was 8 years old. I realized that I actually understood what I was reading.
Subhanallah. Incredible.
Alhamdulillah. And since then, I've always been fascinated by reading. And the reading that I did at the age of 17 when I was pregnant was, I started reading very deeply about Islam and what it meant and the beauty of the religion. Because you know, the one thing that truly saddens me about Islam is how misunderstood our precious, precious religion is. And I'm a typical example of, I hope, a gracious Muslim woman.
Inshallah.
And that really pricked my attention. Up until today, I still read, because the more you read about Islam, the more you understand it, the more I fall in love with it every single day.
I want to crack a joke now. Your son said, Mom, how can you read 3 different books at one time? Because that's what you do.
Yes, no, I do. Alhamdulillah, I read my Quran every single day, but I'm also a very avid reader. And I believe Allah wants us to be knowledgeable, but not just to be knowledgeable, but to share our knowledge. And I live that every day. And so I've used my qualification, I've used my education to serve and to bless others. And hence the love of reading. And I also use the Quran every day. So whatever I read every single day, I use that as Allah's lesson to me as to how I should conduct myself for the rest of the day. And that for me is the beauty of Islam. Every single day I learn something. Every single day I can apply what it is that I'm learning. And so that is what has always pricked my attention and has pricked my love and my adoration for Islam, and it always will.
Alhamdulillah, beautiful. Fakhriya, I remember we had a pre-interview and you mentioned something at the age of 4, you used to go with your parents to Sunday school. Yes. But you were the one that were asking too many questions. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, I've always been curious. I'm 54 years old and I am still fascinated at how curious I am about people and about the world. And the one thing I remember at 4 years old in Sunday school, I would always ask questions.
Yes.
And my Sunday school teacher would always say to me, shh, you ask too many questions. And that used to fascinate me. So I want to know more, and so why aren't you telling me some more? And if I think back now in retrospect, that is all experiences. The teacher, when I failed grade 3, the Sunday school teacher, me falling pregnant, those were all Allah's ways of drawing me to Islam, drawing me to who I really need to be. And so if I look back on my life, it's been hard. I'm a single mom. Yes. It hasn't been easy. But all of those experiences was Allah's way of forming me, of molding me to be who it is that I am. And so I look at past experiences not as, oh, horrible, terrible things that happened to me. No, absolutely, up until today still. When hard things happens to me, I don't say, why me? I say, Allah, what is the lesson for me? And so that for me it's so important. And so I believe, even though I converted to Islam at 17, I believe I was always Muslim.
At the age of 4? Or even before that?
Yes, even before that, alhamdulillah.
Fakhriya, Salah. You know, you so beautifully once said to me, Salah to you is like food for the soul. You can't without it. Yes. Talk to us about that. It really tears us up because it's so emotional in terms of, you know, what it does to your body. Talk to us about that. We have about 1 minute left before we need to take an ad break, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, it is my place of solace. Yeah. It is where I go to center myself. And whenever I do that, I hear and I feel and I smell. And it's as if Allah is saying, you know what, baby girl, it's okay. And that's why I love making my salah. It's important. It's my quiet, my connecting time with Allah.
And you speak a lot to Allah?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing, and people are not aware of it, but I do it all the time. So I'm very blessed in the work that I do to travel extensively, nationally and internationally, and I have been on many international stages. And many people say, but you were so calm. Yes. And you were so amazing. Yes. How's that possible? And I say, before I went on that stage, I say, Allah, alhamdulillah, you've brought me here. Get me through this. Stay by my side. And alhamdulillah, I do it all the time.
All the time. So you always feel protected in the mercy and the blessings of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Incredible, Fakhriya, mashallah. We need to go for a short ad break, inshallah, but when we do return, she does have a PhD, inshallah. So we'll be talking about that journey with this amazing, inspirational woman. We'll be right back after the short break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Inspirational Woman. My amazing guest, Dr. Fakhriya. Fakhriya, before the break we spoke, you gave us such a beautiful journey into your life, mashallah, and how you just love being a Muslim, not for yourself but for others as well. You are a director of a company. You do have a PhD in education psychology. Talk to us about that journey, about the studies, where it all started, and why education?
I completed my grade 12. As I said before, I fell pregnant when I was 17, and so I couldn't complete my matric in 1983. So I went back to school in 1984.
Okay.
And that
A
was
year after
a
the
year
ba-
after
okay.
I had my baby. And in 1994, I really struggled to get back into a high school because no high school would take me because I was married and I also had a child. And so it was quite difficult. I went to about 10 schools and everybody told me the same story. No, we cannot take you. And I got to one high school and I had made a decision, you know, enough of this now. I need to finish school and nobody's going to say no to me.
Nobody's going to stop this girl.
I had a very frank conversation with the principal and I said to him, I hope that you don't feel that I'm disrespecting you, but I really do want to finish school. I was then asked to go to the police station and to actually write out an affidavit to say that I'm not married and that I don't have a child, and if I were to disclose that, they would expel me from school immediately. And alhamdulillah, I was able to finish my matric because I didn't disclose any of that. And when I finished matric in 1984, as coloureds during the time of apartheid, we could only become a teacher, a nurse, or a police person. And so I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to be part of the oppressive police force. And so alhamdulillah, the only thing I could do was to become a teacher. Alhamdulillah, I got a bursary to become a teacher and I became a qualified maths and science teacher. And again, I chose to teach in the most disadvantaged areas. And so I taught in many of the township areas on the Cape Flats. And as I was teaching, I realized that I can do so much more.
Yes.
And I then decided, well, I'm going to study further. And so after my teaching diploma, I was able to do a higher teaching diploma. And I did all of this part-time.
Yes, because you were married.
I was married,
and
I
mommy.
had a child, yes. And I couldn't afford to stop teaching because I needed the money.
Yeah, the income, of
to
course.
take care of my precious baby. And I then completed my higher teaching diploma, but I did all of that part-time. And then what happened was democracy happened in South Africa.
Yes.
And alhamdulillah, the world opened up to us. And I got an opportunity to go and study in England and in France. And that was an exchange program that I did. And when I did that, I actually realized I can compete on an international stage. And again, I saw it as a gift from Allah.
Absolutely.
And what I then did with that gift was to take it to its conclusion. And what I then did was, again, I stopped teaching and I trained teachers. And that was another amazing journey.
Locally or internationally?
Locally.
Locally.
But nationally across South Africa. I then trained maths and science teachers, and I also trained principals and leadership teams at school. And as I was doing that, I was becoming more and more curious about my own knowledge and about my own skills, and remembering that Allah asks us, seek knowledge.
From the cradle to the grave.
Absolutely. And so for me, I just wanted to know more.
Yeah.
I then got myself a degree because, again, we were in a democracy, and so I could go to the white university. And when I got there, again, it was like, so what's all this fuss about?
Yes.
You know, I was able to compete with my fellow students, and again, that motivated me.
Yes.
And again, that was Allah saying to me, baby girl, just go for it.
It's open for
absolutely. The world, it's Allah's world.
Yes.
You are my child, and so go and do what you can do. I was then blessed again with many other exchange programs. So alhamdulillah, I've studied in about 5 countries in Europe, 6, 7 states in America, which was amazing. And that gave me the courage and the confidence to then do my master's degree, actually in science education. And again, I was a little bit scared, I was a little bit nervous, but I said, you know, Allah, you've created this curiosity, and so you get me through this curiosity.
Really
and
true trust in your Allah.
Absolutely. And so I completed my master's degree, and then I decided that to leave formal teaching, and I got involved in education NGOs where you're able to serve a much, much broader community. And I then said to myself, well, if I'm doing that, then I need to study a little more, because unfortunately in South Africa and in many countries, a PhD, it carries a lot.
It does.
It opens doors for you that is normally closed to you. And again, I said, Allah, this is now big time. PhD, it's not a joke.
Right.
I'm working full-time, I'm studying part-time, and so it was hard. But again, by the grace of Allah, I got through it. And that has been just absolutely amazing for me. And so also with the training that I do, I then made a decision, well, if you're able to be successful academically, then come on, professionally you can also. And I've always aspired to the top position. And the reason for that is that it gives you power.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, power for me is to do good.
Correct.
And being a director, it gives me the ability, it gives me the resources to serve so much more people.
Right.
And so for that reason, I aspired. And alhamdulillah, I'm now a director of within a global company. And the work that I do is to serve schools across the country. But again, I made the decision to serve schools that are least serviced. And that's the deep rural schools across our country. And that for me is service. My work, my academic achievements, it is gifts from Allah. And so what do you do with a gift? You use that gift.
Right.
You share that gift. And that for me is so important. Then I share my gift. Then I share my blessings. And so my kids tease me because I have two grown kids.
So beautiful, mashallah,
alhamdulillah,
kids.
is 35 and Mikhail is 27. And so they tease me and they say, Mommy, now what are you going to study for? And I say to them, you know, it doesn't mean that I have a PhD, that I have arrived. Because a PhD actually teaches you that you need to know so much more. And so, alhamdulillah, I still do short courses because it's important for me to be up to date with the latest knowledge, with the latest skills, so that I can in turn go and share that knowledge, go and share those skills. And that for me, I take, it's a responsibility that I take very, very seriously. Because first and foremost, I want to please Allah.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I want to then serve the community.
Yeah. With humbleness.
Absolutely.
This is who you are, Fakhriya.
Yes. I believe that, again, it is not my PhD. It is Allah's PhD. Allah blessed me to be a director. And so I never ever take those blessings for granted. I take them very seriously, and I take it as a huge responsibility to share with others.
Fakhriya, I also know that you don't have a lot on your wish list anymore because alhamdulillah, you've achieved quite a lot. But the name F.W. de Klerk many years ago was the Minister of Education. I'm talking 30 years, if not more. And you're meeting with this gentleman maybe one of these days very soon. What would you like to say to that gentleman?
Well, it's very interesting. Yes, as a coloured, as a Indian, and as a black person, we were denied.
Right.
To get the best education possible because of the apartheid system.
Right.
F.W. de Klerk, yes, at the time was the Minister of Education, and then, as you know, he also was the President of the country. And yes, he has made reforms, and he worked alongside our precious Nelson Mandela. But the one thing that I hope to still do is to say to him, that system didn't work. Look at me, alhamdulillah, a coloured girl, a director in a global organization, a coloured girl with a PhD.
Alhamdulillah, so beautiful. Fakhriya, I also know your name is Fakhriya Karim, mashallah, but your certificate in terms of your PhD graduation is Dr. Veronique Jenica, and there's a beautiful story to that. We don't have much more time, but you need to share that with the world.
My parents do not have much education, but they taught all of us as siblings the value of education. Particularly the women in my family never went to school.
Right.
My great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother named me. She gave me the name. And to honor the women in my family, I chose to graduate with my PhD to honor them, hence the Fakhriya Jenica, because Jenica is the name of the women in my family. So to honor the women in my family, I made that decision.
Alhamdulillah.
To honor them.
And when you graduated, two of your oldest aunts were there?
Yes, Auntie Mary and Auntie Rachel.
Wow, Fakhriya.
Alhamdulillah, and my parents. And for them, I mean, Auntie Mary still says, "Oh, I'm also a doctor."
Alhamdulillah. Fakhriya, we are extremely proud of you, mashallah. Half a minute, your inspirational message to the world.
Particularly to young women. Don't ever give up on your dreams. No matter how hard it is, let me be an example. Let me be the example to you, no matter how hard it is. Trust in Allah and believe in yourself and go and grab your dreams. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. What is next for Fakhriya?
What is next for Fakhriya? It is very sad what is happening in the world, particularly in our Muslim countries.
Right.
Our precious, precious brothers and sisters are suffering in Palestine, are suffering in Yemen, are suffering in Syria. And the one thing that Allah is pulling me is to serve my precious brothers and sisters who are in war-torn areas and that are struggling. And so, alhamdulillah, I really would like to serve. I have served my country very well, and I'd like to now serve my Muslim brothers and sisters around the world.
May Allah Maqbool, that beautiful dua. Sister Fakhriya, it was such an honor to be here. Jazakallah so
Shukran
much.
for having me.
And we can wish you all of the best. And inshallah, I think we'll be following you again, inshallah. All of the best. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, that was really an inspirational woman. And I'm sure all our viewers is going to love this interview. From myself, Najwa Muhammad Ladi, and Dr. Fakhriya. Fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Jy weet, ons wat 2 hande het, 2 voete, gesonde verstand en alles wat gesond is in ons liggaam, is te lui partykeer om iets te doen vir onsself en dinge ewens vir onsself te doen. Maar dan kry jy mense wat, soos ons sal sê, wat 'n disability het, maar wat bereid is om enige iets te doen om hulle self te help. Assalamu alaikum, hallo en 'n hartlike welkom by Inspirational Woman. Ek is Abida Dixon Mohammed. My gas vandag is Aisa Salwari en ek gaan vir julle sê sy het wel 'n disability, maar sy laat dit vir haar onderkry nie. Assalamu alaikum Aisha.
Alaikum salam auntie.
Aisa, as ek nou vir jou nou moet so aankyk, dan lyk jy so oulik en so cute, te pragtig. Maar jy het dan ook 'n disability. Wil jy dalk miskien vir ons 'n bietjie meer inligting gee?
Okay, I was born with congenital muscular dystrophy.
Okay, nou vir my wat dom is, wat beteken dit nou?
When I was born, my parents saw that I'm not as active as a baby usually is. So at 3 months old, they took me for tests and scans,
Yes.
and the doctors diagnosed me with congenital muscular dystrophy.
Okay. Nou, ek weet nou, hulle sê mos altyd 'n mens moenie 'n vrou se ouderdom vra nie, maar jy is al oor die 20 al, nê?
Yes, I am.
Dit is, nou kan jy sien, sy is al 'n groot meisie, ja, sy is. Maar nou, Aisa, jy laat dan nou nie jou disability vir jou agterhou met die lewe nie. Ek verstaan dat jy doen baie goeders. Ek hoor dan ook dat jy doen Islamic studies.
Yes, I'm currently doing a 2-year Arabic course. And I was also at IPSA for a few years. and I completed 2 years at Darul Naim.
Sjoe, my sekin, maar sy is op die bol, soos hulle sal sê, né? Maar ek verstaan dan ook, jy doen ook ander goed. Ek weet daarvan, maar ek wil hê jy moet eintlik vir die mense nou vertel, wat is dit wat jy alles doen? Ek het so foto's en fotorame daar binne gesien. Wat doen jy daarmee?
Growing up, I was always used to like drawing and designing things. So that's my passion. I like decorating and designing. And then I thought, why don't I make a business out of doing what I love? So I started a small business last year. I do digital designing, like digital invites, digital pamphlets, and I also do foil printing.
Sure.
And I do personalized foil prints.
Oh, ja, as so 'n meisiekind vir haar kan besig hou en niks vir haar laat onderkry nie, vra ek weer, wat is verkeerd met my en jou, dat ons te lui is om vir onsself te help? Nou Aisha, jy het dan ook genoem dat jy het skool gegaan soos 'n gewone skool. Vertel gou daar vir ons.
I went to Vistanova Primary
Yeah.
and Vistanova High. It's a school for children with learning and physical disabilities. So it's normal, the normal curriculum. It's just taught for children with special needs.
Nou, kom ek sê nou, daar is mos nou baie van ons mense daar buite wat dan nou 'n disability het. Van jou kant af, watse raad sal jy hê vir kinders of mense wat dan vir hulle self bejammer en dink as niks wat hulle kan doen nie?
I think that if you put your mind to anything, you'll be able to achieve anything you want to.
Okay.
And you also have to trust your God or Allah. And if you have a good support system around you, that helps a lot. And people will motivate you and inspire you. And you also have to be positive all the time. You can't just think, oh, I can't do that, so I can't do that, because you'll never get anywhere in life like that. And I think that my ability to do things is because my ability is stronger than my disability. And I always keep that in mind.
Jy gaan my laat huil, so ek gaan nou net probeer om my oogies gou toe te maak, dat hy traantjies net gou weer kan agter toe gaan, want hy's te kostelik, hy laat niks vir jou agterhou nie. Maar nou Aisha, jy sit op die oomblik sit jy in 'n rolstoel. Maar as jy dan baie keer uit die rolstoel uit wil klim, dan sien ek jy het dan ook iets anders wat jy in beweeg. Wat is dit?
When I was 10 years old, I developed something that's called scoliosis. It's when your spine grows skew.
Ja.
So that caused me, my back is very skew. And it caused me so, I can't sit on my own anymore. I have to wear a back brace to support me. If I don't wear the brace, I just flop one side. So I have something called the standing brace. And I stand in there to stretch my hips. And it's also mobile, so I can be pushed around the house in there.
Okay. Maar dan het ek dan self gesien is dat jy gebruik jou elmboog om dan natuurlik krag op te bou. Is dit dan nie baie seer nie?
It does get so, but there's no other way that I can do it. So I just got used to it. And I don't really feel it anymore.
Sure. Ja, my sekin, ek gaan jou kom steel man. Sy is te oulik, moet ek daarom sê. Maar weet jy nou nie, is dat ons sal altyd dan kyk na mense met 'n disability en dan dink, nee genade, kyk die, of hulle sal mense aanstaar. If people look at you, what goes through your mind?
When I'm in public places, I get a lot of stares,
Yes.
especially from children, and it makes me feel very uncomfortable because I just want to go out like a normal person. And like if I'm at a restaurant, people will watch how I eat, and it's not a nice feeling. So I just want parents to educate their children from small already that all are created, everyone differently. So just because I'm differently looking to them, it doesn't mean that they must stare at me. Even a smile would be nice. Or if you see someone in a public place, just ask them, can I help you? Because a little deed goes a long way. And yeah.
Wel soos hulle sê, as elkeen homself kan geskape het, dan het elkeen vir hom perfek gemaak, né? Dit is ja. Nou Aisa, jy het nou wel 'n disability, maar kan jy dan jou hande gebruik daarom?
Yes, I am able to use my hands a
Okay.
bit.
En dan wat is dit wat jy kan doen met jou hande?
I can write
Ja.
and I can work on the laptop.
Ah,
And as my mother says, I can type on my phone all day. So, and I can do very minimum things. But I can't dress myself
ja.
or bath myself or like big things I can't do.
Dink jy baie keer dat soos hulle sal sê, you are hopeless. Do you think you're hopeless?
No, not at all.
Definitely not. En ek moet sê, die feit dat jy daai wilskrag het, né? En ook jou support system, dit gee vir jou ook meer 'n krag om 'n ding te wil doen,
Yes,
né?
it does. Because the people around me, like my parents and my brother, they also treat me normal. Just because I'm disabled, they don't they can't, they say, pick me up. Yeah.
Okay. Gee mami vir jou nog pak?
And not anymore, but I used to get a lot when I was small.
Was dit 'n lekker pak gekry?
Yes. Because I used to let my brother get into trouble for my part.
Hy sê mischief. Aisha. Wel ek moet sê, Aisha, dit is so lekker om met jou te gesels en ek kan sommer voel dat jy het nie daai teruggetrokke om met die mense te praat nie. You like to do it in the open and give it just the way it is. And to me that is like perfectly.
Yeah.
Nou, jy praat dan nou ook van jy study en allerlei tipe van goeders en so aan. Hoe is jou vriende, your friends? How do they handle you?
They treat me also very normal. And I have very supportive friends also. Alhamdulillah.
Is dit vriende wat ook 'n disability het of is dit normale vriende?
Able-bodied friends.
Ja. Alright. Nou, laat ek gou 'n bietjie nou gou vir jou gou vra. Gaan jy daarom uit? As jy wil uitgaan lekker met vriende en dan kom hulle jou optel en dan gaan julle.
Yes, we go out a lot. And I like going out because being at home, you just get negative thoughts all the time. So if you go out, you can meet people, you can see different situations. And I like learning things by the things around me.
Okay. Nee, definitief. Ek sê weer, ek kan my net indink wat jy moet deurgaan. Maar ek kan sê alhamdulillah vir Allah, Allah knows best soos hulle altyd saam sê. En hulle sê dan ook, hulle gaan nie vir jou swaarigheid gee en laat doen wat jy nie kan deurmaak nie. En die feit dat you accepted what Allah gave you, maak dinge eintlik baie meer makliker en so aan. Sê gou vir my, jy het nou net gesê dat jy jou broer altyd so in die moeilikheid gekry en gelaat kom en dan kry hulle pak en daai. Is dit nou sy turn om vir jou nou lekker in die moeilikheid te laat bring of kry jy nog altyd vir hom in die moeilikheid?
No, we have a very good relationship now. And he helps me a lot. So I can't get him into trouble anymore.
Oh, okay. Want hy's nou 'n soetseker.
Yes.
Aisha, a last word from you for our viewers, from your side perhaps.
I think that you should just trust Allah, and if you put Allah first, then everything in your life will fall into place. And advice for the youth, I think all people in a similar situation as me, that you should just keep on making dua and ask Allah for strength and guidance and acceptance, and He will make it easy for you.
Amen, amen. Wel, en so sê my gas, Aisha sal worry, en ek gaan vir sê, sy mag disable wees, maar daar's niks verkeerd met haar mond nie, en niks verkeerd met haar gedagte nie, sy kan 'n mens laat lekker lag. Wel, tot volgende keer, mooi bly, ek is Abida Dixon Mohammed, Totsiens. Wassalamu alaikum.